Hello everyone, welcome back to Durbanites FPL Game Week 11 review, Game Week 12 preview. The last international break of 2025 is done and we now have 9 game weeks coming up in the next 45 days. So hope you guys are ready for the big push towards the end of the year. So let's start off with the table. So after an amazing week, low scores, a lot of failures along the way, but some people like Frosty FC picking up quite a bit of points and jumping up the table. Fantasy is now the top team. They're very close, just 3 points behind is Suad with Roboclop. Then the Alu boys are coming back up again, myself there, and as you can see the rest of it. Still no chase of the champs on page 1. Here they are sitting in the second page there, Fatality Team at 11, and then going down, Fatih FC slipping quite a lot after being right up there in the early days. Iron Wall FC after that, then Mean with Netflix and Troll having a good week last week, at least jumping up, Coconuts Darren as well, and Plunder FC. So as you can see, quite low scores, and let's see what contributed to that. So looking at the player selection, 4 staples within the selections, starting with Erling Haaland. Still 3 managers, or at least 4 managers currently, still not having faith in the Norwegian striker, even though he is firing on all cylinders internationally and in the league. The first player in this season to complete 102 points in FPL, currently 10 times the number of points that Alexander Isak has. Antoine Semenyo there with 80% of users on him. He's doubtful this week. It's going to be interesting to see how that impacts. Gabriel Magalhaes, 75% ownership. That is going to drop drastically because he is out possibly for 2 months, waiting for more confirmation on that. And Mickey van de Ven up at 60%. But the differentiators this week, Bukayo Saka coming in with 12 points. 1 owner having him, making the difference for them this week. Morgan Gibbs-White with 10 as well coming up there. Again, 1 owner, so really impactful. And Igor Thiago with 10% of the ownership. So just 2 owners having him coming in with 13 points. A fantastic haul for him this week. Now, looking at the hits and misses, just a couple of hits there. Defense at the back, by with 20 points, and Squish, he managed to do it in a week where defenders got absolutely crushed. Still managed to get the Stonewall at least, so that's fantastic. And in a week where strikers didn't really perform, Hassan, Azra and Zai managing to get at least 20 points from the strikers up front. Fantastic. And just 1 miss there for the champ currently. A triple captain played on Erling Haaland this week, a week in which he missed a penalty and did score a goal as well, but just 4 points for him, giving being 12 points on the triple captain. Not the best one we've seen. Now, what does that mean for our possible selection? Dean Henderson gets the number 1 jersey, fantastic 9 points for him, and puts Pickford on the bench. At the back, very heavy on Crystal Palace. With Henderson is Lacroix and Richards with 6 and 8 points respectively. And Luca Digne picking up 9 points from Aston Villa. Fantastic for him. Up in the center, Morgan Gibbs-White making his first appearance on the team for the week. 10 points for him. Neto with 9. Saka with 12. Dewsbury Hall coming good finally with 9. And Anderson with 9 as well for Nottingham Forest. Then looking at the strikers up front, Igor Thiago getting the captain's armband, 13 points doubled up, and João Pedro coming good with 7 points. That means the bench has Richarlison, Chalobah, and Munoz, all of them with 6 points. Now this selection would have given you 114.139 with the bench boost at a total cost of 90.3. A very affordable team if you want to have a look at that. Now, looking at the matchups coming up for this week, let's look at the ones that have some issues. So Spurs and Arsenal taking each other out. Now, Arsenal don't have a terrible game weeks ahead, but Tottenham and Chelsea back-to-back. So 2 London derbies and then Aston Villa on game week 15. Only Brentford, which gives them some respite. So they're going to have to pull things out of the match. And when you see the injuries that they have as well, all their strikers are currently highly doubtful. Gabriel Magalhaes, a big figure in that defense, is now out. Ricardo Calafiori didn't play in the international break and has a slight knock as well. And their midfield is still missing Noni Madueke and Martin Odegaard. Gabriel Martinelli is still recovering. Arsenal are going to be severely tested in these next 4 weeks. After that, they start off with Wolves, Everton, Brighton, possibly a better run before they get Aston Villa again on the rebound just before the end of the year. Now, further down the line there, Spurs as well, taking knock against Arsenal this week. Spurs themselves have issues with injuries in their midfield. Kudus is out as well, their most creative player by far. Solanke is still out as well, so they're really working with Richarlison up front or Matisse Tell. Don't know if Randall Colomani will get a run out somewhere along the line. Then a little bit of respite with Fulham, but then Newcastle, Brentford, Notts Forest, who are resurgent. Then Liverpool before going to a tough Crystal Palace game, and then Sunderland and Bournemouth. It's not a very easy 10 games ahead for Spurs. Looking at Sunderland as well, Fulham and Bournemouth are not easy games for them, a time for them to be tested after sitting fourth in the Premier League. But then Liverpool and Manchester City back to back. These are tough challenges, and if they get through them, you've got to start considering Sunderland are going to be solid for staying in this season. Then you've got West Ham, already struggling a bit this season, but starting to take some shape as well with Nuno. But they've got Bournemouth and Liverpool back to back before taking on a United team that is looking better and better per week. Then Brighton, Villa, then City. So again, quite a tough 5 to 6 weeks ahead for West Ham. But looking at the choices that we've made as well, you've got Aston Villa who are looking in great form against Leeds, Wolves, then Brighton. So at least 3 good weeks ahead. Looking at guys like Daniel Marlin, because Ollie Watkins hasn't been on form, but Daniel Marlin has been doing really well. A good chance to score some points from midfield. And then you've got Bournemouth as well. Good fixtures coming up, all scattered around the shore. Good for rotation as well. So you're looking at guys like Senesi, Krupi Jr. as well, who could start scoring some points up front. Brighton, a fairly good run of matches coming up with a few rotation options. Crystal Palace as well, looking solid in the next 3. Then look at how it goes. They don't have many injuries at the back. They've got a fairly good attacking run with Ismail Assar and Mateta up front. Liverpool have got 3 fantastic game weeks. So guys, talking about Liverpool and Manchester United, they have the best run so far of all the teams for the next 10 weeks coming up. Manchester United do not have another team in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken, or one of them is in 9, which is Crystal Palace. The rest of them are all below the top 10, so they have a chance to really make it happen in the next 4 or 5 fixtures. And Liverpool are very similar, except for Sunderland, who are in 4th. So hopefully Liverpool do turn that their form, their slump in form around, and can get some goals and some points for the managers. And the same for Manchester United, who FPL managers are greatly favouring Brian Mbeumo or Bruno Fernandes. These are the options really out of that. Benjamin Sesko is out for another couple of weeks because of injury, so chances are you're not going to get any goals from him. So I wonder how they will play that up front. Maybe a chance for Mason Mount to enter the FPL rankings. Now guys, looking at our selections coming out from the back line, Alisson is now only doubtful. It is possible he will play for Liverpool this weekend, hence he is even on our picks. It might be a good chance for him in these 3 fairly winnable games that give him a chance to get back into some match fitness. He's a great keeper, definitely a number 1 choice over Mamadashvili, but the question is, which one do you want to take a chance on? So he's still doubtful this week. Then you've got Robert Sanchez, who's pretty solid for Chelsea. Dean Henderson was fantastic for Crystal Palace, and Sonny Lemons for Manchester United. Again, he's been inspirational from the time he's joined. A good choice if you're looking for him, but a bit expensive, but it is a choice that you might want to make. Looking at the defenders as well, Livramento is making his comeback. He needs match fitness, but he might be forced to play for Newcastle because Dan Burn is suspended for this particular match. Levi Colwill is still out for Chelsea. Branthwaite is out for Everton. Robinson, Frimpong and Bradley all out respectively for their teams. Gabriel is now out, as I say, possibly up to 2 months. Calafiori is out, or at least highly doubtful for Arsenal. Matty Cash and Ezri Konsa both doubtful for Aston Villa, but just knocked, so they might play. Looking at our choices though for the game week this week, Chaloba and Kukurea, good scoring options there for Chelsea. Jurriën Timber at Arsenal should be locked, with Gabriel now actually falling off, and you might want to look at Saliba as a replacement. although he's not been firing as much this season as he was in previous seasons. For Crystal Palace, Mark Gahey and Lacroix are the choices that I'm calling out, but you could also go with Richards or Munoz. There are quite a few defensive options in Crystal Palace that you can choose. Luca Digne, based on his performance last week, gets the call up for Aston Villa, and Matty Cash, even though he's doubtful, is a good option with good attacking returns as well. Then you've got Marco Senesi for Bournemouth based on the fixtures that are coming up. We give him a call out again. And Virgil van Dijk, so Big Virg, a chance for him to restore his reputation for Liverpool. Solid in the back, possibly looking at getting some DEFCON points as well in the next 3 game weeks if you're brave and maybe want to look at a solid replacement for Gabriel. Looking at the midfield, Arsenal again, here's the woes there. Madueke, Odegaard, Martinelli, all still not looking likely to play. They do have good backup in that squad, but it's going to start getting thin now, especially with the defense also out, as well as the strikers, which means you might see Mikel Merino going up front. Madison, Kulusevski and Kudus out for Spurs. None of them will feature this week's match against Arsenal, so it's going to be injury hit versus injury hit, and it's anyone's game. Cole Palmer is still out for Chelsea, which is quite disappointing. He's missing a large part of the season. Rodri on his way back for Man City, but still out. Mitoma out for Brighton. Anthony Gordon is doubtful after picking up a small knock, so hopeful that he will play, or he might be rested by Eddie Howe against Manchester City. And then you've got Antoine Semenyo, who a lot of people are banking on. He's doubtful this weekend, but it is possible that he will play, even though he missed out on the international break. In terms of the picks, Liverpool get 3 picks this week, specifically because the game week fixtures are so favourable towards them. So we're going with Salah, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai out of that midfield. Manchester City's Cherki and Foden based on great form that they've been having. Semenyo from Bournemouth is the only choice that we're putting forward for that team. Utsaka and Rice from Arsenal based on attacking returns, but you could also go with Zubimendi, you could go with Merino. There are chances that they will play in this week, or of course Eberechi Eze. Caicedo from Chelsea with Neto, good attacking options as well based on the fixtures. Ismail Assar from Crystal Palace we spoke about. Jorginho Rutter and Jakub Minte from Brighton and Hove Albion. And then you've got Rodgers and Marlon from Aston Villa. Again, Marlon can be used and has been used as a striker in the absence of form of Ollie Watkins, and so a good chance for you to pick up additional points for goals. Then you've got Brian Mbeumo and Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United. Again, good fixtures, the easiest fixture run according to the calculations that have been had, and a chance for these informed players to really make things happen. Finally, looking at the forwards, again, Arsenal's woes plain to see. Gyökeres is highly doubtful, Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz both making their way back into training, but not probably fit to start this weekend. You've got Wissa still out for Newcastle, Solanke still out for Spurs, Wood still out for Nottingham Forest. So 3 of the players that scored really well last season, all of them not featuring at all this season. Alexander Isak from Liverpool still a bit doubtful. He is struggling a bit with his fitness. Eddie Nketiah from Crystal Palace still doubtful. Then you've got Ben Sesko who's out, and Rodrigo Muniz both out respectively for their teams. When it comes to the picks, guys, the out-and-out point scorer this FPL season so far, Erling Haaland, a man on form. Even though he missed a penalty last week, he is at 102 points from 11 game weeks, so just short of 10 points per game week. Really well worth having on your team, even though it's a tricky fixture against Newcastle. Ollie Watkins from Villa, because again, he's bound to hit some form in a resurgent Aston Villa team. Danny Welbeck for Brighton and Hove Albion because of his current run of form. Raul Jimenez for Fulham. They've got some good fixtures that you can take a flyer on, and he's definitely a good option for a cheaper striker. Jean-Philippe Mateta, Crystal Palace's fixtures are fantastic, and he is on great form trying to break into the French team. Liam Delap is back at Chelsea, so I'm not sure whether you want to rotate between him and Chapeto or whether they will play together. It's interesting to see how Enzo Maresca will approach this. And then you've got from Bournemouth, Krupi Jr., who's doing really well in the absence of Evan Nilsson, has been picking up a couple of points as well, so might be a good outside chance that you want to take on him. And then Uwe Ekitike, we're calling out the Liverpool striker, with Isak being doubtful. There's a high probability that he will play, and he is great and on form, and he's got 3 very winnable games. with the Liverpool team that's looking to really cut down the lead that Arsenal have and get back into the title race. So that's all we have for this week, guys. Don't forget that the cutoff is at noon tomorrow, CET, 1 p.m. cutoff if you are in Africa. There are a lot of game weeks coming, including game weeks in the middle of the week as well. So things are going to happen really quickly. Make sure that you keep in touch by liking, subscribing, click the notification bell as well. Don't forget to drop a comment to let us know who's going to win the North London Derby this week.